7 years after Alpha King Theron Blackwood publicly rejected and banished me for being too weak to bear his heir, I stand at the golden gates of the Moonstone Palace, watching him present another woman's son to the realm. My son, the true heir he doesn't know exists, hidden behind me in the shadows. My hands grip the iron bars until my knuckles turn white. The ceremony unfolds in the courtyard beyond, all glittering torches and ceremonial robes, the entire pack gathered to witness their future. I shouldn't have come. The council's invitation sat on my table for 3 weeks before I opened it, and even then I nearly burned it. But the moon goddess doesn't give you a choice when she sends visions every night for a month. "Mama, why are we here?" I look down at Cassian, his dark hair falling into eyes that shift between brown and an otherworldly silver depending on his mood. Right now they're brown, curious, innocent. He doesn't understand what this place took from me. From us. "Hush," I whisper, pulling my hood lower. "Stay close and stay quiet." The Northern Territories taught me many things in 7 years. How to fight. How to heal with herbs the Southern packs have forgotten. How to survive on nothing but will and the love for my child. But they never taught me how to stand outside the home I once dreamed of sharing with my mate and feel nothing. I should feel nothing. Instead, rage burns in my chest like swallowed fire. People of the Moonstone Pack. Theron's voice carries across the courtyard, rich and commanding. He stands on the dais in ceremonial black, every inch the Alpha King. Powerful, magnetic. The same man who looked at me 7 years ago and said I was a mistake he couldn't afford to make. I was 21 then, newly mated, desperately in love. I was also wolfless, a secret my father kept until after the mating ceremony, hoping my bloodline would be enough. It wasn't. Today marks a new chapter for our realm, Theron continues, his hand resting on the shoulder of a small boy with sandy hair and Vivian Ashford's sharp features. Today I present your future Alpha, my son and heir, Marcus Blackwood. The crowd erupts in cheers. I taste bile. Cassian shifts beside me. "Mama, that boy..." "Isn't what he claims to be," I finish quietly. "Neither is the man beside him." Theron raises his hand for silence, and the pack obeys instantly. He's always had that kind of power. The kind that makes wolves submit without question. Once I thought it made him a good leader. Now I know it just makes him dangerous. 7 years ago, Theron says, his voice dropping into something colder. I made an error in judgment. I allowed sentiment to cloud my duty to this pack. I accepted a mate bond with someone who couldn't give me what our people needed. Strength, power, the ability to continue our bloodline with worthy heirs. My breath catches. He's talking about me, in front of everyone. I was young, he continues, pacing the dais like a predator. Foolish enough to believe that a wolf without her beast could somehow produce the next generation of Blackwood Alphas. That mistake cost us years of uncertainty. But today, with Marcus, I correct that error. Today, you have an heir worthy of your devotion. Vivian Ashford steps forward, her red gown catching the torchlight. She's beautiful in the way poisonous things are, all sharp edges and calculated smiles. Her hand finds Theron's arm in a gesture of possession that makes my stomach turn. The moon goddess has blessed us, Vivian says, her voice carrying false sweetness. Where there was weakness, now there is strength. Where there was doubt, now there is certainty. Laughter ripples through the crowd. They know she's talking about me, too. Everyone knows the story of the pathetic wolfless girl who thought she could be queen. Cassian's hand finds mine, small fingers squeezing tight. When I glance down, his eyes are flickering silver at the edges. Control it, I breathe. Not yet. But I understand his rage. It mirrors my own. Theron gestures to Marcus, who steps forward with rehearsed confidence. The boy can't be more than 6, but he's been trained well. His posture is perfect, his expression serious. He looks nothing like Theron, nothing like a Blackwood, nothing like the son who should be standing there. My people, Theron says, his voice swelling with pride that should belong to Cassian. I present Marcus Ashford Blackwood, named in the old tradition, blessed by the Council of Elders, and recognized as my legitimate heir before the moon goddess herself. The crowd roars approval. I turn away, pulling Cassian with me. I've seen enough. The council wanted me here as a gesture of reconciliation, a public show that old wounds had healed. They got their show. Now I can return north and forget this place exists. Mama, wait. Cassian's voice holds a note I recognize, the same tone he uses before he does something reckless. Before I can stop him, he pulls free of my grip and runs, not away from the ceremony, toward it. Cassian, I hiss, but he's already gone, darting through the crowd with the speed of youth. My heart hammers as I push after him, hood falling back, no longer caring if anyone recognizes me. I reach the edge of the courtyard just as Cassian breaks through the inner circle, stopping at the base of the dais steps. The crowd falls silent. Theron's speech cuts off mid-sentence. Every eye turns to my son. He stands there, small and defiant, head tilted back to stare at the Alpha King who doesn't know him. And his eyes, moon goddess, his eyes, flash brilliant silver. Not the uncertain flicker of a moment ago, but a blazing, undeniable silver that lights up the gathering dusk like twin stars. The temperature drops. I feel it ripple through the crowd, the instinctive submission of lesser wolves in the presence of something ancient and powerful. Elders gasp. Warriors drop to one knee without meaning to. Even Theron takes a step back, his expression shifting from confusion to shock. The Silver Wolf bloodline. Once every 1,000 years, the moon goddess marks her chosen with eyes like moonlight and power that commands the very earth. My son carries that mark. Cassian's voice rings clear in the silence. My mama says you're a liar. That boy isn't your real son. Theron's eyes snap to Cassian, then past him, searching the crowd until they find me. The recognition is instant. His face goes pale, then red, emotions I can't read flickering across his features. Shock, disbelief, anger. Behind him, Vivian's smile has vanished. Marcus hides behind her skirts. I step forward, meeting Theron's gaze across the courtyard. 7 years ago, I would have looked away, would have apologized for existing. Not anymore. Hello, Theron, I say quietly, but the words carry. Surprised to see me? His jaw works. Ilara. Just my name, nothing else, like he's forgotten how to speak. I move toward Cassian, placing myself between him and the dais. My hand finds my son's shoulder, and I feel the silver power thrumming through him like electricity. He's young, untrained, but the bloodline doesn't lie. The council invited me, I continue, said it was time for reconciliation. I see you've been busy in my absence. Theron descends the steps slowly, his eyes never leaving Cassian. Who is this? Your mistake, I reply. The words taste like victory and ash. The one you said I could never give you. Funny how the moon goddess has a sense of humor. Understanding dawns across his face. Horror follows. No. Yes. The crowd erupts in whispers. Elder Margot pushes through to the front, her ancient eyes fixed on Cassian. She kneels, pressing her hand to her heart in the old gesture of recognition. Silver Wolf, she breathes. The prophecy. After 1,000 years, he's returned. Other elders follow, kneeling one by one. Warriors, mothers, even children. Within moments, half the pack is on their knees, leaving Theron standing alone on his dais with his false heir, and the woman who helped him create this lie. Cassian looks up at me, confused. Mama? It's all right, baby, I whisper. But it's not. Nothing about this is all right. Theron takes another step toward us, and I see the calculation in his eyes, the wheels turning. He's not looking at Cassian like a son he didn't know existed. He's looking at him like a threat to his power, or a tool to secure it. Elara, he says carefully, we need to talk. We needed to talk 7 years ago, I reply. Before you called me weak, before you threw me out, before you told the entire pack I wasn't worthy of breathing your air. His hand reaches out. I didn't know. No, I cut him off. You didn't know because you didn't care enough to find out. You wanted me gone, so I left. And I took your air with me. Vivienne's voice cuts through the tension like a blade. This is ridiculous. Some charlatan shows up with a child and claims he's the true heir? Theron, have her removed. But no one moves. No one can move. Because Cassian's eyes are still glowing silver, and that kind of power can't be faked. Theron's jaw tightens. Is he mine? The question should hurt more than it does. Instead, I laugh, and the sound holds 7 years of pain. Mine, I correct. He's mine. You gave up any claim to him when you rejected me. Elara, we're leaving. I turn, pulling Cassian with me. I don't get 3 steps before Theron's command stops me cold. Not his words, his alpha command, the one that makes every wolf in the pack freeze in their tracks. Except it doesn't work on me. It never has. The wolfless don't submit to alpha commands because there's no wolf to force into submission. I turn slowly, meeting his shocked expression. Did you forget? I have no wolf for you to control. But he does, Theron says quietly, his eyes on Cassian. My blood runs cold. He's right. Cassian is too young, too untrained to resist an alpha command. If Theron orders him to stay, he'll stay, no matter how much he wants to follow me. I pull Cassian behind me, and for the first time since returning, I let Theron see exactly how much I've changed. The Northern Territories don't make you soft. They make you steel. Try it, I say softly. Give him that command and see what happens. Because the Silver Wolf answers to no one but the Moon Goddess herself. And if you try to force him, if you try to take him from me, I will burn this pack to the ground and salt the earth where it stood. Silence, heavy and absolute. Then Cassian's hand slips into mine, and he speaks, his child's voice carrying power that makes the torches flicker. I want to go home, Mama. Theron stares at us, and I see it. The moment he understands he's lost something he never knew he had. The moment he realizes that rejection has consequences beyond pride. But I also see the determination settling into his features. The calculation. The Alpha King won't let this go. Can't let it go. And as I turn to leave with my son, the silver-eyed heir who was never supposed to exist, I know this is only the beginning. Wanting to see what would happen next, subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 2. The ceremonial hall transforms into bedlam within seconds. I stand frozen, Cassian pressed against my side. As pack members scatter in every direction. Some drop to their knees in instinctive submission. Others push toward us, drawn by the silver light pouring from my son's eyes like he's swallowed moonlight. The ancient torches lining the walls flare brighter, their flames turning from gold to silver. And then I hear it. The low hum that starts beneath our feet and builds until the entire palace trembles. What's happening? Cassian's voice is small, frightened. The silver fades from his eyes as fear takes over, and suddenly he's just my little boy again, overwhelmed by forces he doesn't understand. I drop to my knees and pull him close. You're safe. I've got you. But I'm lying. Nothing about this is safe. Elder Margot rises from where she knelt, her weathered face alight with something between wonder and terror. She approaches us slowly. Hands raised in a gesture that's meant to be calming but makes my instincts scream danger. Lady Elara, she says, her voice carrying over the chaos. That child bears the mark of the Silver Wolf. The last one walked these lands 1,000 years ago, during the reign of Alpha Eternal Soren Blackwood. She pauses, her ancient eyes fixed on Cassian. By law and prophecy, only a true-born heir of the Blackwood line can carry such power. Who is this child's father? The hall falls silent. Every eye turns to me. I meet Elder Margot's gaze without flinching. 7 years ago, I would have stammered and apologized. 7 years ago, I was a different woman. Ask your Alpha King, I say clearly. Ask him what happened to the mate he rejected and threw away. Theron stands at the edge of the dais, his face carved from stone. Vivian clings to his arm like a drowning woman, her perfect composure cracking. Marcus has disappeared behind her skirts entirely, peeking out with wide, frightened eyes. This is absurd, Vivian spits. She's obviously using some kind of trick. Enough! Elder Margot's command cuts through the noise like a blade. She turns to Theron, and I see the steel beneath her elderly exterior. Alpha King, answer the question. Is this child yours? Theron's jaw works. His eyes haven't left Cassian since the silver light faded, and I can see him putting the pieces together. The timing, the age, the impossible power that only Blackwood blood can carry. I don't know, he says finally, and I hate how reasonable he sounds. Ilara and I were mated briefly, yes, 7 years ago. But she left. You mean you threw her out? Elder Oren interrupts, stepping forward. He's older than Margot, his face a roadmap of wrinkles, but his mind is sharp as ever. I remember the rejection ceremony, Theron. You stood in this very hall and declared her unworthy, called her weak, said she couldn't give you an heir. Because she had no wolf, Theron snaps, his composure finally cracking. How could a wolfless mate produce... He stops, staring at Cassian. How? The moon goddess has a sense of irony, I reply coldly. You wanted an heir. I gave you one. You just weren't there to see it. Vivian's laugh is shrill. You expect us to believe she carried his child all this time and said nothing? That she hid the supposed heir to the Blackwood throne in... where? Some northern hovel? This is clearly a scheme. I can prove it. The words leave my mouth before I've fully thought them through, but once they're out, there's no taking them back. I can prove Cassian is Theron's son. The hall erupts again. Questions fly like arrows. How? When? Why now? Elder Margot raises her hand for silence. What proof do you offer, child? My hand moves to my shoulder, to the place where Theron's mark should have faded years ago. Rejection severs the mate bond, burns away the claiming mark, leaves nothing but scar tissue. Except mine never fully disappeared. I've hidden it for 7 years with high collars and careful clothing, ashamed of the stubborn reminder that my body refused to let him go even when my heart had to. The mating scar, I say quietly. It never faded completely. I thought it was just my weakness. My inability to move on. But Elder Oren, you're the one who explained the old laws to me when I first arrived. You said true mate bonds can't be completely severed by rejection alone. Not when there's life created from that bond, Elder Oren finishes, his eyes widening. A child conceived between true mates carries a piece of that bond in their blood. The mark lingers as evidence. I turn my back to the crowd and pull down the collar of my dress, exposing my shoulder. The scar is there, faint but visible. The crescent moon mark of the Blackwood Alpha Kings, silvered at the edges where it should be dead white. Gasps echo through the hall. Theron moves closer, and I force myself not to flinch when his hand reaches out, hovering near the mark but not quite touching. That's impossible, he breathes. I rejected you. The bond was severed. You felt it break. I know you did. I felt something break, I agree, pulling my collar back up and turning to face him. But apparently not everything. Maybe the moon goddess wasn't ready to let you off that easily. This could still be faked, Vivian insists desperately. A tattoo, There are other ways to verify, Elder Margot interrupts. She's looking at me with something that might be respect. Birth records? I reach into the inner pocket of my cloak and withdraw the papers I've carried since leaving the Northern Territories. They're worn but legible, stamped with the seal of the Northern Council, and signed by the Elder Seer who attended Cassian's birth. Elder Margot takes them, her fingers gentle on the aged parchment. She reads in silence, her expression growing more troubled with each line. Finally, she looks up. These records state that a child named Cassian Nightshade was born to Alara Nightshade 7 years ago, witnessed by Elder Seer Morrigan of the Northern Council. She pauses. They also state that Elder Seer Morrigan performed a blessing ceremony at the child's birth and witnessed the manifestation of Silver Wolf essence in the infant. She declared him marked by the moon goddess herself. The hall explodes into chaos again. I hear the words flying: prophecy, true heir, blessed bloodline. Cassian trembles against me, and I kneel again, blocking him from the crowd's hungry stares. Listen to me, I whisper urgently. Whatever happens, stay close. Don't let anyone separate us. He nods, his small face pale but determined. My brave boy. A birth certificate proves nothing about paternity, Theron says. But his voice lacks conviction. He's staring at Cassian like he's trying to find himself in my son's features. This could be... There is one way to know for certain. Elder Margot's voice cuts through the noise like a bell. The bloodline verification ceremony, we haven't performed one in 50 years, but the old ways are still remembered. No. Vivian's voice rises to a near shriek. This is unnecessary. Marcus has already been declared heir. He's been tested, verified. By your personal physician, Elder Orin notes dryly. Convenient that. I say we test both boys. Let the Moonstone decide. The Moonstone. I've heard stories about it. Every wolf raised in pack territories has. The sacred stone that sits in the heart of the palace, blessed by the first Alpha King, capable of recognizing true Blackwood blood. It's said to glow in the presence of an heir, to resonate with the power that runs through the direct line. It's also said to expose frauds without mercy. Theron's face has gone carefully blank. Fine, we'll perform the ceremony. But if this proves to be some elaborate trick, Alara, if you've brought this child here under false pretenses, then what? I interrupt, rising to my feet. You'll reject me again? Throw me out? Been there, Theron. You've got no power over me anymore. Something flashes in his eyes. Anger, maybe, or hurt. I don't care which. Prepare the Moonstone chamber, Elder Margot commands. We perform the ceremony tonight. Both children will be tested before the council and the pack. The next hour passes in a blur. We're escorted to a private chamber to wait. Me, Cassian, and 2 guards who watch us like we might vanish into smoke. Cassian curls into my side on the wooden bench, exhausted by the evening's events. Mama, he whispers, what if the stone doesn't glow for me? Then we go home, I say firmly. Back north where we're safe, where people know your worth has nothing to do with glowing rocks or ceremonies. But even as I say it, I know it's a lie. If the stone doesn't recognize him, it means everything I've believed for 7 years is wrong. It means the Silver Wolf essence is a fluke, an anomaly. It means Cassian isn't who the prophecy says he is. It means I brought him into the Viper's nest for nothing. A knock on the door makes us both jump. Elder Margot enters, her face grave. It's time. The Moonstone chamber sits at the heart of the palace, buried so deep underground that the temperature drops 20 degrees as we descend. The stone itself rests on a pedestal of carved marble, surrounded by ancient runes that seem to shift and move in the torchlight. It's smaller than I expected, roughly the size of a man's fist, but it pulses with an inner light that makes my skin prickle. The Council of Elders stands in a semicircle around the stone. Theron waits to one side, his face carved from granite. Vivian stands opposite him, clutching Marcus's hand with white-knuckled desperation. The ceremony is simple, Elder Margot explains, her voice echoing off the stone walls. Each child will place their hand upon the Moonstone. The stone responds to Blackwood blood, to the power that flows through the direct Alpha line. A legitimate heir will cause the stone to glow. The brighter the glow, the stronger the claim. And if it doesn't glow, Vivian demands. Then the child has no claim to the throne. Elder Oren's voice is final. The bloodline verification ceremony has never been wrong in 1,000 years. Vivienne relaxes slightly. Marcus, on the other hand, has gone very pale. Who goes first? Theron asks. The declared heir, Elder Margot replies. Marcus Ashford Blackwood, step forward. Vivienne releases Marcus with obvious reluctance. The boy walks to the pedestal on shaking legs, and I feel an unexpected surge of pity. He's 6 years old. None of this is his fault. Marcus places his small hand on the moonstone. For a moment, nothing happens. Then a faint glow appears beneath his palm. Weak, flickering, like a candle struggling against wind. It pulses once, twice, then fades to almost nothing. The chamber fills with murmurs. That's not the response of a true heir. It's barely a response at all. Vivienne's face has gone white. The stone must be malfunctioning. Test it again. The moonstone does not malfunction, Elder Oren says sharply. It shows what it shows. Cassian Nightshade, step forward. My son looks up at me terrified. I squeeze his hand once, then release him. You can do this, I whisper. Just touch the stone. That's all. Cassian approaches the pedestal with the careful steps of a child walking through a nightmare. His hand trembles as he reaches out, his small fingers barely spanning half the stone's surface. The moment his skin makes contact, the chamber erupts in light. Silver fire explodes from the moonstone, so bright I have to shield my eyes. It pours through the chamber like liquid starlight, illuminating every corner, every rune, every face. The runes on the pedestal glow in response, their ancient script blazing to life. And the sound, a deep, resonant hum that I feel in my bones, that makes my chest vibrate with power. Cassian jerks his hand back with a cry, and the light fades instantly, leaving us all blinking in sudden darkness. Moon goddess preserve us, Elder Margot breathes. I've read the histories. I've studied the old texts. But I never thought I'd see. She trails off, staring at Cassian with undisguised awe. Theron moves first, striding to the pedestal. He places his own hand on the moonstone, and it glows, bright gold, strong and steady, the mark of an Alpha King. But it's nothing compared to what we just witnessed. That boy carries the Silver Wolf bloodline, Elder Oren says, his voice shaking. The purest expression of Blackwood power in a millennium. There is no question, no doubt. Cassian Nightshade is the true heir to the Blackwood throne. No! Vivienne's voice is a wounded animal sound. No, that's impossible. Marcus is Theron's son. I swear it. Then let Marcus's true father step forward and touch the stone, Elder Margot says coldly, because that child's blood just told us everything we need to know. He has some Blackwood lineage. Distant, perhaps a cousin or second cousin, but he is not the Alpha King's son. Vivienne stumbles backward, shaking her head. You don't understand. We needed an heir. Theron refused to take another mate after her, and the pack needed stability. Whose child is he? Theron's voice is deadly quiet. Vivienne's composure shatters completely. Tears stream down her perfect face, and for a moment I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. Roland's, she whispers. My cousin Roland. We were together before you and I, before everything. When you asked me to give you an heir, I didn't know how else to. The chamber erupts. Guards move toward Vivienne, but Theron holds up a hand, stopping them. His face has gone beyond anger into something colder and more dangerous. You deceived me, he says slowly. For 6 years, you let me believe that boy was my son. You used a child, your own flesh and blood, as a pawn in a game for power. I did it for us, Vivienne cries. For the pack. You were so broken after she left, so lost. We needed stability. Needed an heir. I gave you what you wanted. You gave me a lie. Theron's voice could freeze fire. Guards, take her to the cells. She'll stand trial for treason and fraud against the crown. As the guards lead a screaming Vivian away, Marcus stands alone by the pedestal, crying silently. His whole world just shattered, and he's 6 years old. I kneel beside Cassian and whisper urgently, "Go to him." Cassian looks at me in confusion. "What?" "Marcus. He's scared and alone. Go be kind to him." "But Mama, he's not your enemy," I finish firmly. "He's just a little boy who did nothing wrong. Go." Cassian hesitates, then walks to Marcus. He doesn't say anything, just stands there in solidarity. After a moment, Marcus's hand finds his, and they stand together while the adults argue over their heads. My brave, kind boy. Elder Margot approaches me, her expression unreadable. The council will need to convene. There are formalities, declarations, ceremonies. Cassian must be formally recognized as heir, must begin his training. No. My voice is flat. Not yet. Lady Alara, the law is clear. The law can wait. I meet her gaze steadily. My son just found out his entire life is a lie. That the father who rejected me and called me worthless is suddenly desperate to claim him. That he's some prophesied heir to a throne he never asked for. He needs time. Time is a luxury we may not have, Elder Oren warns. There are factions in the pack who won't accept this easily. Vivian has allies, family members who will see Cassian as a threat. The boy needs protection. He has me. I walk to Cassian, placing my hand on his shoulder. Marcus still holds his other hand, and I include him in my protective stance. We're leaving, tonight. You want us to return? You do it properly. Formal invitation, guarantees of safety, time to prepare. Alara, be reasonable, Elder Margot begins. I am being reasonable. What's unreasonable is expecting me to trust the same pack that cheered when I was thrown out, the same Alpha King who called our bond worthless. I look directly at Theron. You want your son? You want the heir you said I could never give you? Then you earn him. Prove you're worthy of him. Because right now, all you've proven is that your judgment is as flawed as it was 7 years ago. Theron's jaw tightens. You kept him from me. You threw me away. You were carrying my child. I didn't know that until after I left. My voice rises despite my attempt to stay calm. I found out 2 months later, alone in the Northern Territories, terrified and broke. And you know what I thought? I thought, should I go back? Should I tell him? And then I remembered standing in this palace while you declared me worthless, while you said I was too weak to carry your bloodline, while you laughed at the idea that we could ever have a child. The chamber has gone silent. Everyone's staring at us. The rejected mate and the Alpha King who rejected her, finally speaking the truth that's been buried for 7 years. So forgive me, I continue, my voice shaking with barely contained rage, if I decided to keep the son you said I could never produce. Forgive me if I raised him alone rather than giving him to a father who would have spent every day looking for my weaknesses in his face. You wanted me gone, Theron. So I went. And I took your heir with me because I'd rather raise him in poverty and safety than in a palace where his father resented his existence. That's not, Theron starts, but I cut him off. Isn't it? Tell me honestly, if I'd come back then, pregnant and desperate, what would you have done? Would you have welcomed me? Acknowledged the child? Or would you have accused me of lying, of trying to trap you with a convenient pregnancy? His silence is answer enough. I turn to the council. We're leaving, now. Cassian needs to process this away from politics and power plays. When he's ready, if he's ready, we'll discuss what comes next. Lady Alara, I must insist, Elder Margot begins, but Elder Oren places a hand on her arm, stopping her. Let them go, he says quietly. The boy has been through enough tonight. We can reconvene in the morning. I nod gratefully, then look down at Cassian. Ready to go home? He nods, then glances at Marcus. Can he come? Just for tonight? He shouldn't be alone. My heart breaks a little at my son's kindness. I look at the council, at Theron, expecting protests. Instead, Elder Margot nods slowly. The boy should not be alone, she agrees. A guard will escort you all to your chambers for the night. As we turn to leave, Theron's voice stops me. Ilara. I don't turn around. What? This isn't over. No, I agree. It's not, but it's also not your decision anymore. Cassian is my son. Whatever happens next, that doesn't change. I take both boys' hands and walk toward the exit. We make it 3 steps before the sound of shattering glass fills the chamber. An arrow embeds itself in the wall where my head was a second ago. Chaos erupts. More glass breaks. The high windows are being breached. Dark figures drop into the chamber, armed and moving with lethal precision. Assassins. Theron shifts immediately, his alpha wolf exploding outward. Guards form a protective circle, but the assassins are fast, professional. They're not after random targets. They're coming straight for Cassian. I grab both boys and throw myself behind the Moonstone's pedestal as arrows whistle past. Theron's roar shakes the chamber, pure alpha command, but these assassins wear silver chains that protect them from his power. "Protection squad, now!" Elder Margot shouts. But the guards are already overwhelmed. An assassin breaks through the line, heading directly for us. I push the boys behind me, ready to fight with my bare hands if I have to. But before the assassin reaches us, a massive black wolf slams into him, jaws closing around his throat. Theron, fighting in his wolf form, protecting the son he just learned existed. The battle is brutal and brief. Theron's warriors finally gain the upper hand, cutting down the remaining assassins. But not before one of them gets close enough to scream his message. "The false heir will not inherit. Death to the silver wolf. The Ashford family will not—" Theron's jaws close around his throat, ending the threat permanently. When he shifts back to human form, breathing hard and covered in blood that isn't his, Theron looks at me with something raw in his eyes. "They'll keep coming," he says quietly. "Vivian's family, anyone who sees Cassian as a threat to their power, they'll never stop." I hold my son tighter, feeling Marcus trembling on my other side. Then we leave. Tonight. We disappear. You can't run forever. Theron moves closer, and I see the desperation in his face. He's the true heir, Ilara, the silver wolf, the prophecy made flesh. They'll hunt him to the ends of the earth unless he takes his rightful place, unless the pack's protection surrounds him. The pack that just tried to kill him? The assassins were Ashford family, Elder Oren corrects, examining one of the bodies. Vivian's cousins. They knew she'd been arrested, knew the deception had been exposed. This was their answer. I look down at Cassian, at his pale face and frightened eyes. And I know Theron is right. We can't run. Not anymore. The moment that moonstone blazed with silver fire, my son became a target every power-hungry wolf would want to eliminate. "Tomorrow," I say finally, my voice hollow. "We'll talk tomorrow about what comes next. Tonight we just survive." But as guards escort us to secure chambers, as I tuck both exhausted boys into bed and sit watch by the window, I know tomorrow will bring choices I never wanted to make. And Theron's words echo in my mind. They'll never stop. He's right. They won't. Which means neither can I. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 3. I don't sleep. How can I, when every shadow could hide another assassin? When my son lies in the bed beside mine, breathing too quietly, his small body curled around trauma he's too young to carry. Marcus sleeps in a third bed, positioned by the window. After the attack, he refused to leave Cassian's side, and I didn't have the heart to separate them. 2 boys, both caught in a web of adult lies and ambitions, clinging to each other because they're the only ones who understand. Dawn breaks over the Moonstone Palace in shades of gold and pink, beautiful and indifferent to the blood that stained the ceremonial chamber last night. I stand at the window, watching the grounds come alive with activity. Extra guards patrol the walls. Warriors drill in formation. The pack is preparing for war. A knock at the door makes me tense, but it's just a servant with breakfast. She keeps her eyes down, sets the tray on the table, and leaves without speaking. I catch the way she glanced at Cassian, though, fear mixed with awe. He's not a child to her. He's a weapon, a prophecy, a threat or a salvation depending on which side of pack politics you fall on. I hate it. Mama? Cassian's voice is rough with sleep. He sits up slowly, wincing. The silver wolf power explosion last night took everything out of him. I'm here, baby. I move to his bed, pressing my hand to his forehead. No fever, thank the moon goddess. How do you feel? Tired. He looks past me to where Marcus still sleeps. Is he okay? He's fine. You both are. I smooth his dark hair back, and he leans into my touch like he did when he was small. We're safe. Those people wanted to kill me. It's not a question. His brown eyes, no trace of silver this morning, hold a knowledge no 7-year-old should possess. Because of what I am. I can't lie to him. I've never lied to him. Yes. Will they try again? Probably. I keep my voice steady. But I won't let them succeed. Neither will your... I stop myself, but it's too late. My father? Cassian's voice goes cold. The one who threw you away? The one who said you were worthless? Cassian! I heard him, Mama, last night in that chamber. Everyone heard him. He didn't want us. My son's face hardens in a way that breaks my heart. So why should I want him? Before I can answer, another knock interrupts us. This time, it's Elder Margot, her expression grave. Lady Alara, the council requests your presence. Both you and young Cassian. He just woke up. He needs... It's not a request. Her tone softens slightly. Please, this concerns the boy's safety, his future. I look at Cassian, who nods reluctantly. Marcus stirs awake as we dress, his eyes red from crying himself to sleep. I make a split-second decision. Marcus comes with us. Elder Margot starts to protest, then nods. Very well, the child has nowhere else to go, and Cassian seems calmer with him near. The council chamber is packed. All 15 elders sit in their traditional semicircle, with Theron standing to one side. He's changed clothes since last night, but there are shadows under his eyes that suggest he slept as little as I did. His gaze finds Cassian immediately, something raw and hungry in his expression. My son deliberately looks away. Elder Oren gestures for us to approach. Lady Alara, we've spent the night reviewing the situation. The assassination attempt changes everything. Obviously, I reply, keeping Cassian and Marcus close. The Ashford family is powerful and connected, Elder Lucia adds. She's the youngest of the council, barely 50, with sharp eyes that miss nothing. Vivian's arrest will not deter them. If anything, it will fuel their determination to eliminate the threat to their claim. Cassian is not a threat, I snap. He's a child. He's the Silver Wolf heir, Theron says quietly. To them, that's the same thing. I glare at him. Then maybe you should have thought about that before publicly humiliating me 7 years ago. If you'd just let me disappear quietly. None of this. If you'd told me you were pregnant. I didn't know. My voice rises despite my attempt to stay calm. How many times do I have to say it? I found out after I left. After you made it crystal clear I was unwelcome. Enough. Elder Oren's command cuts through our argument. What's done is done. We must focus on protecting the boy now. Which is why, Elder Margot continues, the council has decided that Cassian must remain in the palace under the Alpha King's protection. The pack's full resources will be dedicated to keeping him safe while we root out the Ashford threat. My arms tighten around Cassian. No, we're leaving, today. I'll take him somewhere they'll never find us. There is nowhere, Elder Lucia interrupts gently. The moment that moonstone blazed silver, every pack in the region learned of his existence. Word spreads fast in our world, Lady Alara. By now, every power-hungry alpha knows there's a silver wolf heir who's vulnerable and untrained. Running would only make you easier targets. I want to argue, but she's right. I know she's right. It doesn't make it easier to accept. Then I stay with him, I say flatly. Wherever he is, I am. Non-negotiable. The elders exchange glances. Finally, Elder Margot nods. That's acceptable. We've prepared quarters for you in the eastern wing. Opposite from my chambers, Theron notes, his voice tight. For everyone's comfort, Elder Oren says diplomatically. Given the complicated nature of your relationship. Complicated. That's one word for it. When can we leave? I ask. After the meeting concludes. But there's more we need to discuss. Elder Lucia leans forward, her expression troubled. Cassian's power display last night was unprecedented. We've consulted the ancient texts, spoken with the oldest among us who remember stories from their grandparents' time. The Silver Wolf bloodline is more than just a mark of pure alpha heritage. It's a living force. What does that mean? I ask warily. It means, Elder Oren says heavily, that without proper training and guidance, those powers will grow beyond the boy's ability to control them. We've already seen signs, the way pack artifacts respond to his presence, the way his emotions trigger power surges. Last night, his fear caused an explosion that killed 5 trained assassins instantly. I remember. The silver light that burst from Cassian when one of the assassins grabbed him, the way it expanded outward like a shockwave, how the men screamed as it consumed them. My son collapsed immediately after, his small body unable to sustain that level of power output. He needs training, Theron says. Alpha-level training, the kind only I can provide as his father and the current Alpha King. Cassian's hand tightens in mine. I don't want training from him. The rejection in my son's voice makes Theron flinch. Cassian, I know you're angry, but you hurt my mama. Cassian's voice is small but fierce. You said she was worthless. You threw her away. Why would I let you teach me anything? The chamber falls silent. Theron looks like he's been punched. The boy has a point, Elder Lucia says quietly. Trust must exist between teacher and student for alpha training to work. The bond between them is essential. Then we'll build that bond, Theron says desperately. Cassian, I know I made mistakes. Mistakes? I can't help the bitter laugh that escapes. Is that what we're calling it now? Alara, please, don't. I hold up a hand. Just don't. You don't get to rewrite history because it's suddenly convenient. You destroyed me 7 years ago, systematically, publicly, cruelly. And now you want Cassian to forget that? To trust you? To bond with you? For his own survival, yes. Theron's composure cracks. Do you think I want this? Do you think I enjoy knowing that I rejected my true mate and my prophesied heir? That I was such a fool, so blind? He stops, running a hand through his hair. But none of that matters now. What matters is Cassian needs training, needs guidance, or his powers will destroy him, and I'm the only one who can provide that. There are other alphas, I begin. None with Blackwood blood, Elder Oren interrupts. None who understand the specific nature of the Silver Wolf power. The training must come from his father. It's not just tradition, Lady Alara. It's biological necessity. Their wolves must sync, must learn to resonate together. I look down at Cassian, seeing the fear in his eyes. What if he can't? What if the bond is too damaged? The elders exchange uncomfortable glances. Finally, Elder Lucia speaks. Then we have a much bigger problem. She rises from her seat, moving to an ancient chest at the back of the chamber. When she returns, she carries a scroll so old the parchment has yellowed to the color of bone. The seal on it bears a symbol I don't recognize, a wolf made of silver surrounding a crescent moon. This is the prophecy of the silver heir, Elder Lucia says, carefully unrolling the scroll. recorded 1,000 years ago by the moon priestess Ileana, who served under Alpha Eternal Sorin Blackwood. It details not just the arrival of the silver wolf, but the conditions necessary for his power to stabilize and grow. Dread pools in my stomach. What conditions? Elder Lucia begins to read, her voice taking on the formal cadence of ritual. When the silver wolf returns to walk among his people, marked by Moon's blessing and carrying the power of ages past, his strength shall be both salvation and destruction. For the silver wolf draws his power not from himself alone, but from the bond that created him, the true mate connection between his parents, blessed by the moon goddess and sealed in love. She pauses, and the silence that follows is suffocating. If this bond remains whole and strong, she continues, the silver wolf shall ascend to his full power, ushering in an age of peace and prosperity. But if the bond is broken, if the love that created him has been severed, her voice drops. Then the power shall consume him from within, burning through his mortal form like fire through dry timber. He shall become a conduit for forces he cannot control, and in his death throes he shall take with him all who stand near, parent, pack, and kingdom entire. The scroll slips from my suddenly nerveless fingers. No. The prophecy is clear, Elder Orin says heavily. The silver wolf's power is directly tied to his parents' mate bond. As long as that bond remains severed, Cassian's powers will continue to grow unstable. Eventually, he trails off, but we all understand. Eventually, my son will die, and take everyone he loves with him. That's impossible, I breathe. The mate bond was rejected, broken. You can't restore something that's been destroyed. Actually, Elder Margot says quietly, you can. It's rare, requires specific circumstances and tremendous effort, but rejected mate bonds have been restored before. If both parties truly forgive, if trust can be rebuilt, if love, real love, not the remnants of old feelings, can be rekindled, the moon goddess may choose to restore what was broken. And if she doesn't? Theron asks. His face has gone pale. Then Cassian has until the next full moon. Elder Lucia's voice is gentle but final. 3 weeks. That's when his power will reach critical mass. If the bond hasn't been restored by then, she doesn't finish. She doesn't need to. I sink into a chair, my legs unable to hold me. 3 weeks. 3 weeks to forgive 7 years of pain. 3 weeks to trust the man who destroyed me. 3 weeks to fall in love with someone I've spent years learning to hate. 3 weeks, or I lose my son. There must be another way, I say desperately. Some other ritual, some other... We've consulted every text, every elder who remembers the old ways, Elder Orin says gently. This is the only path. The silver wolf needs his parents' bond whole and strong. There's no alternative. Cassian's hand finds mine, his small fingers trembling. Mama? What does this mean? I look at my son, my brave, kind, beautiful boy, and know I'd do anything to save him. Even this, even the impossible. It means, I say slowly, that your father and I need to try to fix things between us. The council has developed a bonding protocol, Elder Margot explains. A series of traditional rituals designed to help rejected mates rebuild their connection. You'll undergo them together over the next 3 weeks, working toward restoring the bond. And if we can't? Theron asks. If 7 years of damage is too much to overcome? Elder Lucia's expression is grave. Then we lose the silver wolf heir before he ever truly claims his power. And the prophecy of the new age dies with him. The weight of it settles over the chamber like a shroud. My son's life hanging in the balance. The fate of some prophecy I never asked to be part of, and the impossible task of learning to love the man who broke me. When do we start? I hear myself ask. Immediately, Elder Margot replies. Every day counts. The bonding protocol begins this afternoon with the ritual of truth, where both parties must speak honestly about the past, holding nothing back. No. The word escapes before I can stop it. You can't ask me to. We're not asking, Elder Orin says, not unkindly. The moon goddess is. Through her prophecy, through the mark she placed on your son. This is the price of the Silver Wolf's power, Lady Alara. This is what's required. I look at Theron across the chamber. He stares back, and I see my own horror reflected in his face. Whatever else has passed between us, neither of us wanted this. Neither of us is ready for this. But Cassian's life depends on it. Fine, I say hoarsely. We'll do your rituals. But I want one thing clear. This is for Cassian, only for Cassian. Whatever we do, whatever we say, it doesn't change what happened. It doesn't erase the past. The point of the bonding protocol is to heal the past, Elder Margot says gently, not erase it. I stand, pulling Cassian with me. Marcus follows, still holding my son's other hand. Then we'll see you this afternoon. Right now Cassian needs rest. As we turn to leave, Theron's voice stops us. Ilara, I want you to know, I never meant... He stops, seeming to struggle with words. If I could go back and change things, I would. All of it. Every word, every decision. I was wrong about you. About everything. 7 years ago, those words would have meant the world. Would have healed wounds I thought were mortal. Now they just sound empty. Save it for the ritual of truth, I say coldly. You'll have plenty of opportunity to explain yourself then. The guards escort us to our new quarters in the eastern wing. The rooms are beautiful, far more luxurious than anything I had during my brief time as Theron's mate. Sitting rooms, bedrooms, a private bathing chamber, everything designed to make us comfortable. Everything except the knowledge that we're trapped here, that my son's life depends on me doing the impossible. I settle both boys with books and toys, then stand at the window, staring out at the palace grounds. Somewhere in this massive complex, Theron is probably doing the same thing, probably feeling the same crushing weight of responsibility and impossibility. A soft knock makes me turn. A servant enters, carrying a sealed envelope. From Elder Lucia, my lady. She said you should read this before the afternoon ritual. I take the envelope, and the servant leaves. Inside is a single piece of parchment with neat handwriting. Lady Alara, I know what we're asking seems impossible. But you should know, the bonding protocol has worked before. 50 years ago, Alpha Marcus and his mate Celeste underwent the same rituals after a devastating betrayal nearly destroyed their bond. They succeeded. Their love was restored, stronger than before. You and Theron have something they didn't, though. You have Cassian. A living reminder of what your bond created. A reason to fight for each other when fighting seems pointless. The ritual of truth will be difficult, painful. You'll both have to speak truths you've buried for years. But it's necessary. You can't heal what you won't acknowledge. One more thing. Trust your instincts during the ritual. If something feels wrong, if you sense deception, speak up. The ritual only works if both parties are completely honest. With hope, Elder Lucia. I fold the letter slowly, her words echoing in my mind. Trust your instincts. If you sense deception, speak up. That afternoon, I leave Cassian in Marcus's care with 3 guards stationed outside our quarters. The boy didn't want me to go, but I explained as best I could, that I was fighting for him in a different way now. The ritual of truth takes place in a small chamber deep in the palace, lit only by candles that smell of sage and moonflower. A circle has been drawn on the floor in salt, with 2 cushions placed opposite each other. The elders wait outside. This ritual must be conducted in private, though Elder Margot will monitor through a spelled mirror to ensure it's done properly. Theron is already there when I arrive, sitting on one cushion. He's changed into simple clothes. No crown, no ceremonial robes. Just a man, looking more uncertain than I've ever seen him. I take my place on the opposite cushion. The salt circle glows faintly as I cross it, acknowledging the ritual's activation. The ritual of truth is simple. Elder Margot's voice echoes from the mirror. You speak, the other listens. No interruptions, no defenses, no justifications until you've both finished. Then, and only then, can you respond. The ritual will know if you're lying. The salt will turn black. If you speak truth, it will remain white. You have until sunset. Begin. She fades from view, leaving us alone. The silence stretches. Theron looks at me, and I see 7 years of regret in his eyes. But I also see the man who destroyed me, and my walls slam into place. You first, I say coldly. You're the one who needs to explain. He nods slowly. 7 years ago when we mated, I thought I knew everything. I was young for an alpha king, only 25, and arrogant as hell. When your father proposed the alliance marriage and I met you. He pauses. I felt the mate bond immediately. It was overwhelming, terrifying. I'd always thought I'd choose my mate strategically, politically. But the moon goddess chose you. And you resented it, I say quietly. I didn't know how to handle it, he corrects. You were shy, uncertain, nothing like the strong alpha females I'd imagined at my side. But the bond, it was undeniable. So I convinced myself it would be fine, that you'd grow into the role. Until you learned I was wolfless. His face tightens. Your father told me 3 days after the mating ceremony. I was furious, felt deceived, but worse than that. He stops, struggling with the words. I was terrified. A wolfless Luna had never successfully ruled. The pack would see it as weakness. My enemies would use it against me. And an heir from a wolfless mother, all the old texts said it was impossible. That wolf genes don't pass through a broken lineage. So you rejected me to save face. I rejected you because my beta and gamma convinced me I had to. The words come out in a rush. They came to me daily after I learned the truth. Showed me texts, histories, examples of failed leadership when alphas mated unwisely. They said you'd destroy everything I'd built, that I'd be remembered as the king who let sentiment weaken the Blackwood line. I stare at him. You're beta and gamma. Marcus Stone and Garrett Cole. Theron's voice goes harsh. My most trusted advisors. My friends since childhood. They spent weeks breaking down my resistance, feeding me reasons why you had to go. And I, moon goddess forgive me, I listened. I believed them. The salt at our feet remains pure white. He's telling the truth. Why? I ask. Why would they do that? Theron's laugh is bitter. That's what I've been asking myself since last night. Elder Oren did some digging after you left the chamber. Turns out Marcus and Garrett both have family ties to the Ashford line. Distant cousins, but close enough. They wanted me mated to Vivian from the start. Someone who'd bring powerful alliances, political advantage. You were an obstacle. My hands clench in my lap. So they orchestrated my downfall. They fed me lies about your unworthiness, showed me falsified reports about pack members losing confidence, even arranged for visiting alphas to make comments about how weak I seemed with a wolfless mate. His voice cracks. And I was too arrogant, too insecure to question them. I believed my own people over my mate. The salt remains white. All truth. Where are they now? I ask quietly. Arrested. Pending investigation. If what Elder Oren suspects is true, they've been working with the Ashford family for years, laying groundwork for Vivian's ascension. Theron looks at me, and his eyes are haunted. I rejected my true mate, threw away my prophesied heir based on lies from people I trusted, and I was too proud to see it. Silence falls between us. The candles flicker, casting shadows that dance across his face. My turn, I say. He nods, settling into position to listen. I take a breath, then begin. When you rejected me, something inside me died. Not just broke, died. I stood in that courtyard while you listed all my inadequacies, all the reasons I wasn't worthy, and I felt my heart stop beating. The mate bond snapping was physical pain, yes, but worse was the emotional devastation. Knowing that the man the moon goddess chose for me, the one person who was supposed to love me unconditionally, found me so lacking that he'd rather be alone than bound to me. The salt remains white. My truth. I left that night, I continue. Took what I could carry and fled north. I had nowhere to go, no money, no plan. Just knew I had to get away before I shattered completely. The Northern Territories took me in. They're more accepting of wolves who don't fit the traditional mold. I worked as a healer's apprentice, lived in a tiny room, tried to piece myself back together. Then I found out I was pregnant. My voice drops. 2 months after I left, I missed my cycle. At first, I thought it was stress. But then the symptoms started. And I knew. I carried your son. The heir you said I could never give you. Theron's face has gone pale, but he remains silent. I thought about coming back, I admit. Spent weeks debating whether to tell you, but every time I considered it, I remembered your voice in that courtyard. Too weak to bear my heir. A mistake I can't afford to make. How could I come back with proof of my pregnancy when you'd made it so clear I was worthless? You would have accused me of lying, of trying to trap you. And even if you believed me, you would have spent every day looking at Cassian and wondering if his wolfless mother had passed her weakness to him. The salt remains perfectly white. So I stayed away, I finish. I raised our son alone, in poverty, in exile, and I told him his father was dead rather than explain that you rejected us before he was even born. Every day I chose his peace over your truth, and I don't regret it. The salt turns the faintest shade of gray. Not black. I don't regret keeping Cassian from Theron, but there's something incomplete in that statement. Theron notices. What aren't you saying? I close my eyes. I hated you, hate you. For 7 years I've carried this anger like a second heartbeat. Every time Cassian asked about his father, every time I struggled to feed us, every time I saw other families whole and happy, I hated you more. And now you want me to forgive all of that in 3 weeks? To fall in love with you again? It's impossible. The salt flashes pure white, then slowly starts to darken at the edges. Wait! Elder Margot's voice comes from the mirror. Lady Alara, repeat that last statement. I hate him, I say clearly. I hate what he did to me, to us, to... The salt turns gray. Not black, but definitely not white. Interesting, Elder Margot murmurs. The ritual detects complexity in your emotions. You say you hate him, but part of you, perhaps a small part, doesn't. Not entirely. That's ridiculous, I snap. After everything the salt doesn't lie. Elder Margot interrupts gently. You may wish you hated him completely. You may believe you do. But somewhere, buried deep, a part of you remembers what you felt before. The ritual sees that truth even when you don't. I stare at the gray salt, feeling betrayed by my own heart. Theron's voice is quiet. Can I respond now? Elder Margot checks something I can't see. Yes, the truth speaking is complete. You may respond to each other. Theron leans forward, his eyes intense. You're right, about all of it. I destroyed you, threw away something irreplaceable, and hurt our son before I even knew he existed. And you're also right that 3 weeks isn't enough to fix 7 years of damage. But Alara... His voice catches. I have to try. Because if I don't, Cassian dies. And I've already failed him once. I won't do it again. Pretty words, I say bitterly. But they don't change anything. No, they don't. But maybe actions will. He stands, approaching the edge of the salt circle. I'll do whatever it takes. Whatever you need from me, time, space, groveling bloodshed, I'll give it. Because you're right. I was too arrogant to see the truth 7 years ago. But I see it now. And I'll spend however long it takes proving I'm not that man anymore. Before I can respond, the door bursts open. A guard rushes in, his face pale. Alpha King, Lady Alara, you need to come now. The boys... My heart stops. What about the boys? They're gone. Someone took them from their quarters. The guards are dead, and there's a message written in blood on the wall. We run. The ritual forgotten, our fragile reconciliation abandoned, we race through the palace corridors with guards flanking us. My mind spins with terrible possibilities. The Ashford family, other enemies, wolves who want to eliminate the threat Cassian represents. We reach our quarters to find chaos. 3 guards lie dead, their throats slit. The sitting room has been torn apart. And on the wall, written in still wet blood, "The false heir will not inherit. The silver wolf dies tonight. Come to the old temple ruins if you want to watch." Below the message, they've left a small handprint in blood. Cassian's handprint. My legs give out. Theron catches me, his arm around my waist, the only thing keeping me upright. "They have our son," I whisper. "Then we get him back." Theron's voice is steel. His alpha power fills the room, making the surviving guards stand straighter. "Assemble strike teams. Every warrior, every tracker. I want the temple ruins surrounded in 15 minutes. "It's a trap," one of the guards warns. "I don't care." Theron's eyes flash gold. "They took my son. They'll return him or they'll die. Preferably both." He looks at me, and for the first time since I returned, I see the Alpha King I once loved. Strong, protective, ruthless when his family is threatened. "We'll get him back," he promises. "Together." And despite everything, despite 7 years of pain, despite the impossible task ahead, despite the gray salt that revealed truths I'm not ready to face, I believe him. Because when it comes to Cassian, we're on the same side, even if it's the only thing we have in common anymore. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 4. The temple ruins are older than the Moonstone Pack itself, crumbling stone markers of some forgotten wolf clan. They sit 3 miles north of the palace, surrounded by dense forest that makes them perfect for ambushes, which is exactly why I'm terrified. 30 warriors in position, Theron says, his voice clipped and professional as we approach on foot. He's in full alpha mode, shoulders back, power radiating from him in waves that make even his own guards nervous. Snipers in the trees, trackers circling from the east. Whatever trap they've set, we'll be ready. "That's what they're counting on," I mutter. My hands won't stop shaking. Somewhere in those ruins, someone has my son. Has Marcus. 2 innocent boys caught in a power play they don't understand. Theron's hand finds my elbow, steadying me. "We'll get them back." I want to pull away from his touch, want to maintain the walls that have kept me safe for 7 years. But I can't. Not now. So I let him anchor me as we walk into what's certainly a trap. The ruins materialize from the darkness, crumbling pillars and broken archways, all overgrown with vines and moss. Moonlight filters through the canopy, painting everything in shades of silver and shadow. "I smell blood," Theron says quietly. His eyes flash gold as his wolf rises to the surface. My stomach drops. Cassian. Not his, too old. He moves forward cautiously, signaling the warriors to fan out. But there's something else. Silver. They've laid silver powder around the perimeter. Silver, the one substance that can slow wolf healing, weaken our strength. They're not just trying to kidnap my son. They're preparing for a fight. A figure emerges from the central archway. Roland Ashford, Vivian's cousin and Theron's former beta. He's a large man, built like a brawler, with Vivian's sharp features and a smile that makes my skin crawl. "Alpha King," he says, mock bowing. "So good of you to accept our invitation. And you brought the reject mate. How touching." Theron's growl vibrates through the ground. "Where are the boys?" "Safe, for now." Roland steps aside, revealing Cassian and Marcus huddled together in a silver-lined cage. My son's eyes flash silver when he sees me. But the silver bars around him suppress his power, leaving him helpless. I lunge forward, but Theron's arm shoots out, stopping me. Wait, something's wrong. He's right. Roland looks too confident, too relaxed. This isn't just about the boys. You know what's funny? Roland says conversationally, pacing in front of the cage. 7 years ago, when we convinced you to reject this pathetic excuse for Aluna, we thought we'd won. Vivienne would give you an heir, our heir, and the Ashford family would control the throne through him. Simple plan. Until it wasn't, Theron says coldly. Until it wasn't, Roland agrees. We didn't account for this one actually being pregnant when you threw her out. Didn't account for the moon goddess having a sense of humor and blessing the reject's bastard with the silver wolf bloodline. He laughs. And the sound is ugly. Do you know how many years we spent planning? How many resources we invested in positioning Vivienne perfectly? So you're going to kill my son out of spite, I spit. Out of necessity, Roland corrects. As long as the silver wolf lives, Marcus can never claim the throne. As long as you two exist, our plans can't move forward. So yes, we're going to kill him, and you, and anyone else who stands in our way. More figures emerge from the ruins. 20, 30, 40 wolves, all carrying weapons coated in silver. Roland's faction, bigger than we anticipated. Theron's warriors tense, ready to engage. But we're outnumbered, and the silver powder surrounding us will weaken our advantages. You won't leave here alive, Theron says quietly. There's no bravado in it, just certainty. Maybe not, but neither will you. And if we all die tonight? Roland shrugs. The pack fractures. The council scrambles for a new alpha. In the chaos, the Ashford family claims the throne through distant bloodline rights. We still win. He's thought this through. Planned for every outcome. This isn't about survival. It's about making sure we all fall. Last chance, Roland says. Give us the boy, and we'll let you and the mother walk away. You can have another heir someday. Make better choices. Theron's answer is to shift. His alpha wolf explodes outward, massive, black as midnight, power incarnate. His roar shakes the ruins, sending birds scattering from the trees. Roland grins and shifts as well. His followers follow suit, and suddenly we're surrounded by hostile wolves. The battle begins. I'm not a warrior, never claimed to be. But 7 years in the Northern Territories taught me how to survive, and survival means fighting when cornered. I shift into the only form I have, human, weaponless, desperate. But I learned to use silver-tipped blades from northern rogues, learned to fight dirty and fast. A gray wolf lunges at me. I dodge, grab a fallen branch, and ram it into his side. Not enough to kill, but enough to make him think twice. Another comes from my left. I roll, come up with a rock, and throw it hard enough to crack against his skull. Around me, Theron's warriors engage Roland's faction. Teeth and claws and blood. The sounds of combat fill the air. Snarls, howls, the wet rip of flesh. I lose track of everything except the need to reach that cage, to get to my son. Theron fights like a demon, taking on multiple wolves at once. His size and strength give him an advantage, but there are too many. I see him take a silver-coated blade to his shoulder and keep fighting, see blood matting his dark fur. I'm halfway to the cage when someone slams into me from behind. I hit the ground hard, tasting blood. Hands grab me, flip me over. A woman's face looms above me, sharp features, Ashford family resemblance. "The reject mate," she hisses. "You should have stayed dead." Her hand rises, holding a silver knife. I see my death in her eyes. Then Theron is there, his massive wolf form crashing into her like a freight train. She flies sideways, hitting a pillar with a sickening crack. He stands over me, protective, as more wolves circle. "Get to Cassian," he commands, his alpha voice cutting through the chaos. "Get him out." I don't argue. Just run for the cage while Theron holds the line. Cassian's small face presses against the silver bars. "Mama!" "I'm here, baby." I grab the lock, but it's reinforced, designed to resist tampering. Hold on, An explosion of power knocks me backward. Roland has broken through Theron's line, shifting back to human form long enough to throw some kind of spelled grenade. Silver powder erupts, covering everyone nearby. I hear Theron's pained howl as it burns his wounds. Enough! Roland roars. He's bleeding from a dozen places but still standing. Kill them all! The alpha, the mate, everyone! His remaining wolves, maybe 20 still standing, converge on our position. We're about to be overwhelmed. That's when the council arrives. They come from the east in a wave of ancient power. Elder Orin leads them, his normally frail form transformed by the old magic that made him an elder in the first place. Behind him, Elder Margot and Elder Lucia, flanked by the palace's elite guard. Roland Ashford, Elder Orin's voice cracks like thunder. By order of the Council of Elders, you are under arrest for treason, conspiracy to commit regicide, and kidnapping of the Silver Wolf heir. The battle shifts. Roland's supporters, faced with the combined might of the palace guard and the elders' ancient magic, begin to falter. Some flee into the forest, others surrender, dropping weapons and shifting back to human form. Roland himself stands defiant, blood streaming from multiple wounds. The Ashford family will never stop, even if you kill me. We're not going to kill you, Elder Margot interrupts coldly. Death would be mercy. You'll stand trial, and you'll face the consequences of every crime you've committed, including the murder of 3 palace guards. Warriors surround Roland. He fights, but he's outnumbered and exhausted. Within minutes, he's subdued, bound with silver chains, dragged away screaming threats and curses. I don't care. I'm already at the cage, using tools one of the guards hands me to break the lock. The moment it clicks open, Cassian throws himself into my arms, and I hold him like I'll never let go. I was scared, he sobs against my shoulder. They said they were going to hurt us. You're safe now. You're safe. I look over his head at Marcus, who watches us with hollow eyes. I extend my free arm. You too, sweetheart. Come here. Marcus hesitates, then collapses into our embrace. 2 traumatized boys, holding onto the only anchor they have. Behind us, Theron shifts back to human form. He's a mess, covered in blood, wounds still smoking from silver poisoning. But he's alive. He's standing. And he's looking at our son like he's the most precious thing in the world. Cassian, he says hoarsely, are you hurt? My son pulls back slightly, studying his father, really looking at him for the first time. You came for us. Always. Theron drops to one knee despite his injuries. I will always come for you. I know I haven't been a father to you. I know I failed you and your mother in every way that matters. But I swear on my life, on my title, on everything I am, I will never fail you again. Something shifts in Cassian's face. Not forgiveness, that will take time, but maybe the beginning of understanding. The council escorts us back to the palace. Healers swarm immediately, tending to the injured. I refuse treatment until Cassian's been checked over completely, and only then do I let them look at my own wounds. Mostly cuts and bruises, nothing serious. Theron's injuries are worse. The silver poisoning needs to be drawn out, a painful process that takes hours. I stay with Cassian in our quarters, both of us too wired to sleep. It's almost dawn when Elder Margot summons us to the council chamber. I'm sorry to call you so soon after such trauma, she says, her face grave. But there are matters that can't wait. The remaining council members sit in their places. Theron stands to one side, freshly bandaged and looking exhausted. He meets my eyes briefly, and I see something there I haven't seen before. Vulnerability. The investigation into Roland and his conspirators has revealed the full extent of the corruption, Elder Orin begins. It's worse than we thought. Beta Roland and Gamma Pierce weren't just manipulating the Alpha King. They were embezzling pack resources, taking bribes from rival territories, and planning something far more sinister. He slides documents across the table. financial records, correspondence, plans written in careful detail. They were going to assassinate Theron once Marcus came of age, Elder Lucia explains. Install themselves as regents until Marcus reached maturity, then rule through him as puppet masters. The Ashford family would have effectively controlled the Moonstone Pack while Theron's bloodline sat on the throne as figureheads. The chamber fills with stunned silence. I look at Theron and see the devastation in his face. The men he trusted most, the friends he'd known since childhood, had been planning his murder. Beta Roland and Gamma Pierce are in custody, Elder Margot continues, along with 17 other conspirators. They'll stand trial, but the evidence is overwhelming. They'll be executed for treason. And the pack? Theron asks quietly. How are they responding? That's complicated, Elder Oren admits. The Alpha King admitting he was deceived, that his judgment was compromised. Some see it as weakness. But others... He pauses. Others see it as the first honest leadership you've shown in years. The first time you've been vulnerable, human. It's dividing opinion. Let it divide, Theron says firmly. I won't lie to protect my pride anymore. I was manipulated. I failed my mate, my son, my pack. Anyone who can't accept that truth can leave. The elders exchange glances. Elder Margot nods slowly. Very well. But that brings us to the next matter, the bonding rituals. You've completed the ritual of truth, but there are more, and time is running out. I know she's right. We've been so focused on the immediate crisis that I'd almost forgotten. Cassian's powers are still unstable. The full moon is still coming, and our broken mate bond still needs to be restored or my son dies. What's next? I ask. The ritual of hunt, Elder Lucia explains. You must hunt together as wolves, share the kill, feed each other. It's meant to rebuild primal trust, to remind your wolves why they chose each other. I don't have a wolf, I remind her flatly. No, but you have a hunter's spirit. The ritual can be adapted. She looks between us. You have 6 days until the full moon, 6 days to complete the remaining rituals and restore your bond. If you fail... We know, Theron interrupts. Cassian dies. We won't fail. His certainty should annoy me. Instead, I find it steadying. Over the next 3 days, we perform the bonding rituals. The hunt comes first. Theron in wolf form, me running beside him on 2 legs but moving with the speed and instinct the Northern Territories taught me. We chase down a stag together, and though the kill is his, I claim my share. We eat beneath the stars, and for a few hours, the past fades into something simpler. The ritual of protection comes next. We're pitted against hired warriors in combat trials, forced to defend each other or lose. When a fighter comes at me with a practice blade, Theron moves without thinking, putting himself between us. When another tries to blindside him, I'm there with a counterattack that sends the man sprawling. We're partners. We're good at this part, the fighting, the survival, the physical trust. It's the emotional trust that remains elusive. On the 4th day, as we prepare for the ritual of vulnerability, where we must expose our deepest fears to each other, Cassian's condition worsens. I'm in our quarters when I hear the crash. I run to his room to find windows shattered, furniture overturned, and my son curled in the corner, silver light pouring from him in uncontrolled waves. "Mama, I can't stop it," he cries. "It hurts." I reach for him, but the power pushes me back. It's too strong, too wild. Marcus stands in the doorway, terrified. "Get the elders," I shout at him. "Get Theron. Now!" Theron arrives within minutes, taking in the scene instantly. His power is destabilizing faster than predicted. "Do something," I beg. He approaches slowly, his alpha power meeting Cassian's silver wolf essence. They clash, and for a moment, I think it'll only make things worse. Then Theron speaks, his voice dropping into the alpha command that carried through battles. "Cassian, look at me." My son's silver eyes find his father's. "Breathe with me," Theron continues. In, out. Let the power flow, don't fight it. Cassian tries to follow his instructions. The wild surges begin to even out slightly. That's it. You're not broken, son. You're just powerful. The silver wolf isn't a curse, it's a gift. But gifts need to be wielded, not feared. The light begins to fade. Cassian's breathing slows. After what feels like hours but is probably only minutes, the power recedes, leaving my exhausted son slumped against the wall. Theron scoops him up like he weighs nothing, carrying him to bed. I follow, my heart still racing. How did you do that? I whisper. Alpha training, teaching young wolves to control their power. He settles Cassian under the blankets, his hand gentle on our son's head. I should have been there for his first shift, his first power surge. I should have... His voice breaks. And I see it. Really see it. The grief he carries for everything he missed. For 7 years of Cassian's life he can never get back. We have 3 days, Elder Margot says from the doorway. None of us heard her enter. 3 days until the full moon. If the bond isn't restored by then, his power will consume him. What you just witnessed was a preview. It will get worse. Then we complete the remaining rituals, Theron says firmly. Starting now. The ritual of vulnerability takes place in the sacred grove, under the watchful eyes of the moon. It's late afternoon when we arrive, the sun filtering through ancient trees that have witnessed countless ceremonies. Speak your deepest fear, Elder Lucia instructs. The thing that terrifies you most. The vulnerability you've hidden from the world. Theron goes first. He stands across from me and I see him gathering courage. I'm terrified of being alone, he says quietly. Of ending up like my father. Powerful, respected, and utterly isolated. When I rejected you, I told myself it was about duty, about the pack. But the truth is, I was scared. Scared of how much I felt for you. Scared that loving you would make me weak. And in trying to protect myself from vulnerability, I destroyed the only thing that made me whole. The grove seems to hold its breath. I stare at him, seeing past the Alpha King to the man underneath. Your turn, Elder Lucia prompts gently. I take a breath. I'm terrified of trusting you again, of letting you in and giving you the power to destroy me a second time, because the first time nearly killed me, and I had to rebuild myself from nothing. If I trust you now, if I let myself feel anything for you, and you reject me again, my voice catches. I won't survive it, and Cassian needs me to survive. Theron's face crumples. Elara, I'm not finished. I force the words out. But I'm also terrified of not trying. Because if Cassian dies because I was too scared to heal, too proud to forgive, I'll never forgive myself. So I'm caught between two fears, and I don't know which one will destroy me. Silence falls. Then Elder Lucia nods. Truth spoken on both sides. The ritual is complete. But it doesn't feel complete. It feels raw and exposed and painful. We're walking back to the palace, neither of us speaking, when the attack comes. They pour out of the trees. Wolves wearing the Ashford family crest, 15 at least. Not Roland's faction this time, these are different. Family members seeking revenge for their imprisoned kin. Run! Theron shouts, already shifting. But I don't run. I've spent too many years running. Instead, I grab a fallen branch and plant myself between the attackers and the path back to Cassian. The battle is chaos. Theron tears through enemies with brutal efficiency, but there are too many. One of them breaks through his line, heading straight for me. I swing my makeshift weapon, but he dodges, and suddenly there's a blade in his hand, silver-coated, aimed at my heart. Time slows. I see the blade coming, know I can't dodge. See Theron's eyes widen in horror as he realizes he's too far away to help. Then he's moving, not toward the attacker, but toward me, putting himself between the blade and my chest. The silver knife sinks into his side instead of my heart. Meant for a killing blow, it tears through his flesh with devastating effect. Silver poisoning spreads instantly, black veins racing across his skin. No! My scream tears from somewhere primal. Theron drops and I catch him, his weight taking us both down. The attacker raises his blade again, but before he can strike, guards arrive, the patrol that was monitoring our ritual. They take down the remaining Ashford wolves with prejudice. But I don't care, I don't see them. All I see is Theron, bleeding out in my arms, his breathing shallow. Why? I sob, pressing my hands to the wound. Why would you do that? Because losing you, he gasps, would be worse than dying. Then something happens. Something impossible. The mate bond, dormant for 7 years, roars back to life. I feel it like electricity in my veins, like coming home, like pieces of myself I'd thought dead suddenly resurrecting. And with it comes his pain. Sharp, burning, devastating. The silver poisoning spreading through his system, shutting down his organs one by one. No, 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 I grip his face. Stay with me. Theron, stay with me. The bond, he breathes. Can you feel it? Yes. Moon goddess, yes, I feel it. Tears stream down my face. Don't you dare die now. Don't you dare leave me again. Not leaving. His hand finds mine. Never leaving, not this time. His eyes start to close. That's when I remember the stories Elder Lucia told us. The ancient Alpha's sacrifice, a last resort, a desperate measure. An Alpha can offer their life force to their mate through the bond, can heal wounds that should be mortal. But it goes both ways. Healers! I scream. I need healers now! They arrive within seconds, but I barely register them. I'm already reaching for the bond, feeling its new strength, its restored connection. If he can give his life force to save me, then I can give mine to save him. Lady Alara, what are you... One healer starts. Save him, I command. Do whatever you have to do. I'll handle the rest. Then I close my eyes and pour everything I am into the bond. My strength, my energy, my very life force. I send it all through the connection to Theron. Feel it flowing into him, fighting the silver poisoning, healing damaged tissue, keeping his heart beating. It's agony, like being torn apart from the inside. But I don't stop. Can't stop. Because losing him would be worse than dying. Around us, the healers work frantically, removing the blade, treating the wound. But I know their efforts alone won't be enough. The silver poisoning is too advanced. So I give more. And more. Until the world starts to dim. Until my own heartbeat becomes irregular. Until I feel myself slipping away. Worth it, I think distantly. If he lives, it's worth it. Strong hands grab my shoulders. Elder Oren's voice cuts through the fog. Alara, stop! You're killing yourself. Have to save him, I mumble. You're doing it, child. Look, he's stabilizing, but if you give any more, you'll die, and then he'll follow you. Stop now. With the last of my strength, I open my eyes. Theron's breathing has evened out. The black veins are receding. His eyes flutter open, finding mine. Alara, he breathes. Then everything goes black. I wake to voices arguing nearby. Consciousness returns slowly, painfully. Every part of me aches like I've been beaten. Nearly killed herself saving him. The bond. It's stronger than before the rejection. Still only have 2 days until the full moon. I force my eyes open. I'm in a bedroom, not my quarters, somewhere else. Soft morning light filters through gauzy curtains. And sitting in a chair beside my bed looking like death, warmed over but alive, is Theron. You're awake. Relief floods his face. Moon goddess, you're awake. You're alive, I croak. My throat feels like sandpaper. Thanks to you. He reaches for my hand and I let him take it. The healers said you gave too much, that you nearly died bringing me back. You took a blade meant for me. I'd do it again. No hesitation. I stare at our joined hands. The bond, it's back, he confirms. The sacrifice, both of us willing to die for the other, it completed something. The moon goddess recognized the truth that we'd been denying. What truth? His eyes meet mine, vulnerable and open. That I never stopped loving you. Even when I thought I hated you, even when I told myself the rejection was right, I never stopped. I just buried it under pride and fear and lies. Tears spill down my cheeks. I don't know if love is enough. Not after everything. It's not, he agrees. Love isn't enough. But love plus action, love plus commitment, love plus the willingness to fight for us every single day, even when it's hard, that might be. The door bursts open. Cassian runs in, Elder Margot trying and failing to stop him. My son throws himself at the bed, and I catch him with my free arm. Mama, you're okay. They said you were sick and I couldn't see you and... He stops, noticing Theron. And you're okay too. We're both okay, baby, I assure him. Cassian looks between us, his young face serious. Then he does something that breaks my heart and mends it at the same time. He reaches out and takes Theron's hand. Thank you, he says quietly. For saving my mama. Theron's eyes flood with tears. Thank you for letting me try to be your father. Something shifts in the room. I feel it through the bond. A surge of power, but different from before. Controlled, peaceful. The boy's wolf, Elder Margot breathes. It's stabilizing. She's right. The silver light that's been flickering around Cassian constantly for days has softened to a gentle glow. He looks down at his hands in wonder. It doesn't hurt anymore, he says. The bond restoration is working, Elder Oren says from the doorway. Not complete yet. You still have the final ritual, but the progress is undeniable. Theron squeezes my hand. We're going to make it, all three of us. I want to believe him, and for the first time in 7 years, I almost do. But we still have 2 days until the full moon. 2 days to complete the final ritual and fully restore what was broken. 2 days to save our son. And maybe, just maybe, to save ourselves in the process. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 5. I have 2 days to prepare myself for the most terrifying thing I've ever done. Not fighting assassins, not surviving in the Northern Territories, not even childbirth, though that came close. No, standing in front of the entire Moonstone Pack and exposing every raw, broken piece of myself is somehow worse than all of those things combined. You don't have to do this, Theron says quietly. We're in the sacred grove again, the day before the final ritual, the vow of eternal truth, the last step in restoring our bond completely. Yes, I do. I stare at the ancient stone altar where we'll stand tomorrow. For Cassian, for the bond, for... I stop, unable to finish. For us? He offers gently. I nod, not trusting my voice. He moves closer and I don't step away. The restored bond hums between us, still new, still fragile. I can feel his emotions now. The guilt, the hope, the bone-deep fear that I'll never truly forgive him. I understand that fear. I carry my own version of it. I've been working on my confession, he admits. Elder Lucia says it has to be complete truth, nothing held back. Every failure, every regret, I know, I finally look at him. I've been working on mine too. Our eyes meet. And I see my own terror reflected back at me. Tomorrow we strip away every defense, every wall we've built. Tomorrow we bleed in front of witnesses. Tomorrow we save our son or lose him forever. Mama? Cassian's voice breaks the moment. He emerges from the trees with Marcus trailing behind. The two boys have been inseparable since the kidnapping, and I'm grateful for it. They understand each other's trauma in ways no one else can. What is it, baby? Elder Margot says we need to go back to the palace, something about preparing for tomorrow. He looks between me and Theron uncertainly. Are you scared? I kneel to his level. Terrified. But you're doing it anyway? That's what bravery is. Being scared and doing it anyway. Cassian considers this, then nods. Then I'll be brave too. Tomorrow. When you and... He glances at Theron, still uncertain what to call him. When you both speak your truths, I'll be brave and listen. My heart breaks and heals at the same time. Thank you, sweetheart. That night, I don't sleep. I pace our quarters, rehearsing the words I've written, then scratching them out and starting over. How do you confess your deepest shames to an audience of hundreds? How do you stand in front of the pack that watched you be rejected and admit you're still broken? Dawn arrives too quickly. The ceremony is set for noon, when the sun is highest and the moon goddess's power is strongest. The entire pack gathers in the great courtyard, thousands of wolves, all watching, all judging. The Council of Elders sits in places of honor. Cassian stands with them, flanked by guards, his silver eyes solemn. Theron and I approach the raised platform separately. He's dressed in formal alpha regalia, black and silver, the Blackwood crest prominent. I wear a simple white dress that Elder Lucia provided, symbolic of vulnerability and truth. We stand on opposite sides of the platform, not touching. The bond thrums between us, anxious and electric. Elder Lucia rises, her voice carrying across the silent crowd. We gather to witness the vow of eternal truth, a sacred ritual not performed in this pack for 50 years. Alpha King Theron Blackwood and Lady Alara Nightshade seek to restore their rejected mate bond. To do so, they must bare their souls completely, hiding nothing, protecting nothing. The moon goddess will judge their sincerity. The pack will witness their vulnerability. And if they speak true, the bond will ignite stronger than before. She pauses, letting the gravity settle. But if they speak false, if they protect their pride over their truth, the bond will shatter permanently, and their son, the Silver Wolf heir, will die. The crowd murmurs. I feel the weight of thousands of eyes on me, judging, questioning. Some sympathetic, some hostile, all curious. Alpha King Theron, Elder Lucia continues, you will speak first. Confess your deepest truths before the moon goddess and your pack. Theron steps forward. For the first time since I've known him, he looks uncertain. The powerful Alpha King, reduced to a man about to expose his failures. He takes a breath and begins. 7 years ago, I rejected my true mate because I was a coward. The crowd goes silent. No one breathes. I told myself it was about duty, Theron continues, his voice carrying but stripped of its usual authority. About pack stability. About the need for a strong Luna who could bear strong heirs. I convinced myself that Alara's lack of a wolf made her unsuitable, that I was making a strategic decision for the good of everyone. He pauses, and I see his hands shake. I lied, to her, to you, to myself. His voice cracks. The truth is, I felt the mate bond the moment I met her, and it terrified me. It was overwhelming, all-consuming. I'd always imagined choosing my mate strategically, someone from a powerful family, someone who could enhance my political position, someone who fit the image I'd built of what an Alpha King's mate should be. He looks at me then, and the raw pain in his eyes makes my chest tighten. Alara was none of those things. She was shy, uncertain, from a small pack with limited influence. When I learned she had no wolf, it gave me the excuse I'd been looking for, a way to break the bond and choose someone appropriate. The crowd murmurs. Some sound sympathetic, others scandalized. But that wasn't the real reason, Theron says, and his voice drops to something raw. The real reason was that loving her made me feel weak, vulnerable, out of control. I'd built my entire identity on being strong, invincible, perfect. And the mate bond, true mate bond, the kind the moon goddess gives, it strips away all those defenses. It makes you soft, makes you care about someone more than you care about your own pride. He turns to face the crowd fully. So I chose my pride. I rejected the mate the moon goddess chose for me because I was too arrogant to trust her judgment. Too insecure to accept that maybe, just maybe, I needed someone who would challenge me rather than glorify me. I see pack members shifting, uncomfortable with this level of vulnerability from their alpha king. My beta and gamma manipulated me, Theron continues. Fed me lies, showed me falsified reports, convinced me that Alara would destroy everything I'd built. And I believed them because I wanted to, because it was easier than admitting I was scared of my own feelings. He stops, gathering himself. When he speaks again, his voice is quieter, but somehow carries more weight. I destroyed the best thing in my life. I took a woman who loved me unconditionally and crushed her in front of the entire pack, made her feel worthless. Drove her away. And when she left pregnant with my child, the heir I'd said she could never give me, I wasn't there, didn't support her, didn't protect her. She survived alone, raised our son alone, because I was too much of a coward to fight for us. Tears stream down his face now, and he doesn't hide them. Alara's strength, her ability to survive exile, poverty, single motherhood, proves she was always the stronger of us. She didn't need a wolf to be powerful. She had something far more important. Courage. Real courage. The kind that doesn't need fangs and claws, just the will to keep going when everything's been taken from you. He looks directly at me. I destroyed you, and somehow impossibly you survived. You built a life. You raised an incredible son. You became exactly the kind of Luna this pack needs. Not perfect, not political, but real. Strong in ways I never understood. His voice breaks completely. I beg your forgiveness. Not just yours, Alara, but the pack's. And Cassian's. I failed everyone by choosing pride over love. By being too blind to see what the moon goddess was giving me. Not a perfect mate, but the right one. The one who would survive my worst and still be standing. The one who would mother the silver wolf heir because she's the only one strong enough. He drops to one knee, and the crowd gasps. An alpha king, kneeling in submission. I don't deserve forgiveness, Theron finishes quietly. But I'm asking anyway, because I'll spend the rest of my life proving that I'm not that man anymore, that I can be the mate you deserved from the beginning. Silence. Complete, crushing silence. Then Elder Lucia speaks. Lady Alara. Your turn. My legs nearly give out as I step forward. Every eye in the courtyard focuses on me, the rejected mate, the outsider, the woman who dared to return with proof of Theron's failure. I open my mouth, and nothing comes out. Panic claws at my throat. Then I feel it, the bond, humming with encouragement. Theron's presence through the connection, offering what support he can. And I find my voice. When Theron rejected me, I begin, my voice trembling but carrying. Something inside me died. Not broke, died. I stood in this very courtyard and felt my heart stop beating, felt my soul crack. The mate bond snapping was physical agony, but worse was the emotional devastation. Knowing that the man the moon goddess chose for me found me so inadequate that he'd rather be alone. I force myself to look at the crowd. See sympathy on some faces, pity on others, judgment on many. I fled to the Northern Territories with nothing, no money, no plan, no hope. I wanted to die. The confession tears out of me. Those first months, I thought about ending it every single day. The pain was too much. The rejection, the shame, the feeling of being fundamentally unworthy. It consumed me. Tears blur my vision. Then I found out I was pregnant. And suddenly, I had a reason to keep going. Not for myself, I'd given up on myself, but for the life growing inside me. For the son Theron said I could never give him. I look at Cassian, see his small face pale but determined. I should have told him, I continue, and this is the hardest part. The moment I knew I was pregnant, I should have sent word. Let him decide what he wanted to do. But I didn't. And I told myself it was for Cassian's protection. that Theron would try to take him, would raise him to be ashamed of his mother. My voice drops. But that wasn't the only reason. Part of me, a dark, bitter part, wanted Theron to suffer the way I'd suffered, wanted him to feel loss and emptiness. So I kept his son hidden. Let him think the rejection was complete, that he'd successfully erased me from his life. And every year that passed, I told myself it was for Cassian's good, that I was protecting my son. I turned to Theron. I was punishing you, using our child as a weapon in a war you didn't even know we were fighting, and that makes me just as culpable as you in this disaster. The admission feels like tearing out my own heart. I came back because the moon goddess commanded it, I continue. Not because I forgave you. Not because I wanted to restore anything. I came back resentful, angry, ready to watch you squirm when you realized what you'd lost, and when Cassian's power manifested, when the pack recognized him as the true heir. Part of me, moon goddess, forgive me, part of me was glad. Glad you were suffering. Glad everyone could see your judgment was flawed. Shame burns through me. What kind of mother uses her child's pain for revenge? What kind of person holds a 7-year-old grudge so tightly that she poisons her own son against his father before they even meet? I look at Cassian again, see tears on his face. I'm sorry, baby. You deserve to know your father. Deserve to make your own judgments instead of inheriting my bitterness. Then I face the crowd fully. And here's the worst part. The truth I've been hiding even from myself. I take a shuddering breath. I never stopped loving him. Through all the anger, all the pain, all the years of telling myself I hated him, I never stopped. The mate bond was broken, but my heart never got the message. And that's been my torture. Loving someone who destroyed me. Hating myself for being so weak that I couldn't let go. The tears come freely now. I'm terrified of trusting him again. Terrified of being vulnerable. Because if I open my heart and he rejects me again, I won't survive it. I barely survived the first time, and only because I had Cassian to live for. I can't. My voice breaks. I can't be strong enough to rebuild twice. I look at Theron through my tears. But I'm also terrified of not trying, of letting my fear cost our son his life. Of spending the rest of my days wondering if I could have been brave enough to forgive. My voice drops to a whisper. I don't know if I can do this. Don't know if I'm strong enough to be what everyone needs. A queen, a Luna, a mother to the Silver Wolf heir. I'm just a wolfless girl from a small pack who got rejected by her mate and somehow survived. I don't know how to be anything more than that. I turn to Elder Lucia. That's my truth. I'm broken. I'm bitter. I'm scared. And I don't know if love is enough to fix any of it. The silence that follows feels eternal. Then Cassian's voice breaks it. Mama! He's standing now, having left his place with the elders. He walks across the platform and takes my hand. You're the strongest person I know, he says clearly, his child's voice carrying across the courtyard. You survived when everyone said you couldn't. You raised me when you had nothing. You came back here even though it hurt because you love me more than you're afraid. He looks up at me with those silver-touched eyes. That's what makes you strong enough to be queen. Not some wolf, just love. Something breaks inside me. Or maybe it's something healing. I drop to my knees and pull him close, sobbing into his shoulder. And then I feel it. The bond explodes. Not just restores, ignites. Power surges through me like lightning, connecting me to Theron with a force that steals my breath. But it's more than that. The power flows through 3 points, not 2, me, Theron, and impossibly Cassian. A trinity bond. Silver light erupts from all 3 of us, so bright the crowd shields their eyes. I feel Theron's strength flowing into me. Feel Cassian's silver wolf power joining with it. Feel my own resilience, the kind that comes from surviving impossible things, adding to the mix. We're not just bonded, we're fused, connected at a level that transcends normal mate bonds. The light solidifies into a visible thread, silver strands connecting our hearts, pulsing with combined power. And in the center, where all three threads meet, a symbol appears. Ancient. Sacred. Elder Orin's voice is awed. The Trinity bond. Moon Goddess, preserve us. It's real. The light fades slowly, leaving us standing, Theron, me, and Cassian, connected by silver threads that only those with ancient sight can see. But everyone can feel it. The power radiating from us is undeniable. Then the air shimmers. She appears like moonlight made solid, the Moon Goddess herself, or at least a manifestation of her will. She towers over the courtyard, beautiful and terrible, her eyes holding the wisdom of ages. When she speaks, her voice echoes in every soul present. Behold the Trinity, Alpha King, Luna Queen, and Silver Wolf Heir, forged through trial, tempered by loss, united by love. Every wolf in the courtyard drops to their knees. Theron, Cassian, and I remain standing, held upright by the goddess's will. Elara Nightshade was never too weak, the Moon Goddess continues. She was specifically chosen because only one who could survive rejection, exile, and single motherhood would be strong enough to mother the Silver Wolf Heir. The trials were necessary, the pain was purposeful. For the Silver Wolf cannot be born to comfort. He must be born to survivors who understand strength comes not from never falling, but from rising after the fall. She looks directly at me, and I feel the weight of her attention like physical pressure. You doubted my choice, both of you, but I do not make mistakes. Theron needed to learn humility before he could lead. Elara needed to learn her own strength before she could stand as queen, and Cassian needed to be born to parents who understood brokenness, so he could heal what has been fractured. The goddess turns to the crowd. The Trinity bond has not existed in a millennium. It is given only to those who have earned it through suffering and sacrifice. These three will lead you into a new age. Trust them, follow them, and know that what was broken has been remade into something stronger than it ever was before. She begins to fade, but her final words echo. The legacy is reborn. Then she's gone, and we're left standing in a courtyard full of kneeling wolves, connected by silver bonds that pulse with impossible power. Elder Lucia is the first to rise. Tears stream down her weathered face. The prophecy is fulfilled. The Silver Wolf Heir stands with both parents, united by the Trinity bond. The new age begins. She approaches Cassian, drops to one knee. Crown Prince Cassian Blackwood, blessed by the Moon Goddess, carrier of the Silver Wolf bloodline, the Moonstone Pack recognizes you. One by one, the elders follow, then the warriors, then the entire pack, each one kneeling and speaking the words of recognition. Cassian looks overwhelmed. I squeeze his hand, feeling Theron's presence through the bond offering the same support from the other side. We stand together. Finally, actually together. The coronation ceremony is planned for 3 days later. Time to prepare, to organize, to let the pack adjust to this new reality. But there are factions who will never adjust, who see the Trinity bond as a threat rather than salvation. We should have anticipated the final attack. It comes during the ceremony itself, when the entire pack is gathered, when security is focused on the celebration rather than the threat. Roland and Vivian's remaining supporters, family members who escaped the initial purge, wolves who'd benefited from the Ashford Alliance, they choose this moment for their last desperate strike. The first explosion rocks the Great Hall just as Elder Lucia places the ceremonial crown on Cassian's head. The second follows immediately, and suddenly there are wolves pouring in from hidden passages, armed with silver weapons and spelled ammunition. "Protect the heir!" Theron roars, shifting instantly. But they're not after Cassian, not primarily. They're after me. "Kill the false Luna!" someone screams. "End the Trinity bond!" They understand what we've only begun to realize. The Trinity bond requires all 3 points. If they kill me, the bond shatters, and Cassian's power destabilizes. They can't touch Theron easily, can't reach Cassian through the guards. But me? I'm the weakest point. Or so they think. 5 wolves converge on my position. I dodge the first, duck under the second, but the third catches me with a blade across my ribs. Silver-coated. The burn is immediate and agonizing. Then Cassian screams. Not in fear, in rage. The silver wolf power explodes from him, but this time it's different. Controlled. Focused. Enhanced by the Trinity bond, he's channeling not just his own power but Theron's alpha strength, and my survivor's resilience. His small body erupts into his wolf form for the first time, and it's magnificent. Silver fur that gleams like starlight, eyes blazing with ancient power, size that shouldn't be possible for a 7-year-old. He's not a child's wolf. He's an alpha wolf, augmented by the silver bloodline and the Trinity bond. The attackers freeze, seeing their deaths in his eyes. Cassian doesn't hesitate. He tears through them with brutal efficiency, too fast to track, too powerful to resist. Within seconds, the 5 wolves who threatened me are down, their throats torn out, their weapons scattered. The remaining attackers try to flee, but Theron's warriors have secured the exits. Within minutes, it's over. The last desperate attempt by the Ashford faction ended by a 7-year-old boy who just became the youngest alpha-level wolf in recorded history. Cassian shifts back to human form, breathing hard, standing over me protectively. His silver eyes find mine, worried. "Mama, are you okay?" I look at my son, my brave, powerful, impossible son, and I can't help but laugh through the pain. "I'm fine, baby. You were amazing." Theron reaches us, shifting back as well. He lifts me carefully, examining the silver wound. "We need a healer." "I'll survive," I say, and I mean it. We all will. Because that's what we do. That's who we are now. The Trinity, unbreakable, unstoppable. The months that follow are a blur of change. Cassian's formal coronation as Crown Prince goes off without any more assassination attempts. The remaining Ashford supporters are rounded up, tried, and exiled. Vivienne and Roland are executed for treason, their deaths witnessed by the pack as justice for their crimes. Theron and I rule together, learning to navigate our restored relationship. It's not easy. We both carry scars, physical and emotional, that don't heal overnight. Some nights I still wake up panicking, convinced the rejection was real, and the restoration was a dream. Some days, Theron struggles with guilt so heavy he can barely function. But we're trying, taking it one day at a time, building something real instead of the fantasy Theron originally imagined. The Trinity bond helps. Through it, we can feel each other's emotions, offer support when words fail, understand what the other needs before they have to ask. It's intimate in a way that's both comforting and terrifying. Cassian thrives. His power, stabilized by the Trinity bond, grows under Theron's careful training. He's still a child, still plays with Marcus, still needs bedtime stories, still sometimes wakes from nightmares. But he's also something more, something the pack looks to with hope and awe. Other packs begin seeking alliances. The Moonstone Pack, with its Trinity bond and Silver Wolf heir, has become a force no one wants to oppose. Trade agreements are signed, treaties are negotiated. Our territory expands peacefully as smaller packs request to join us. Theron handles the politics with newfound wisdom, his arrogance tempered by humility. He asks my opinion on everything, values my input, treats me as an equal partner. Some of the older pack members still struggle with having a wolfless Luna, but most have come to see what Theron finally understood. Strength comes in many forms. I find my place as queen, not by being what Theron originally wanted, but by being what the pack needs. I establish healing centers in the Northern Territories style. I create programs for wolves who don't fit traditional roles. I become an advocate for the forgotten and rejected, because I understand them in ways Theron never could. And slowly, painfully, beautifully, Theron and I heal each other. It's 3 months after the coronation when I stand on the palace balcony, watching Cassian train in the courtyard below. His silver wolf gleams in the afternoon sunlight, powerful and controlled as he practices combat forms with Theron, father and son. The bond between them has grown strong, built on trust and consistency. Cassian no longer flinches when Theron reaches for him. Theron no longer hesitates before showing affection. They've found their rhythm. Arms wrap around my waist from behind. I tense instinctively. Some reactions take longer to unlearn, then deliberately relax into Theron's embrace. "They're beautiful together," he murmurs against my ear. They are. I watch Cassian land a hit that sends Theron sprawling, then immediately rush over to make sure his father's okay. Even in playfighting, his care for others shows through. "I'll spend the rest of my life proving you were always the queen I needed," Theron says quietly. "Not the one I thought I wanted, the one I actually needed. Strong enough to survive my worst, brave enough to come back, wise enough to teach me what real strength looks like." I turn in his arms, looking up at his face. The face that once rejected me. The face that now looks at me like I'm precious. "We're not perfect," I remind him. "This isn't a fairy tale ending where everything's magically fixed." "No," he agrees. "It's better, because it's real, messy and complicated and built on actual choice rather than destiny alone." Below us, Cassian howls, joyful, powerful, free. The sound echoes across the palace grounds, and within seconds the entire pack howls in response. Thousands of wolves, celebrating their crown prince, their trinity bond, their future. I look at Theron, see hope and love and determination in his eyes. And I make a choice. I kiss him. Not because the moon goddess commands it. Not because the pack expects it. Not because the trinity bond requires it. But because I want to. Because despite everything, despite the pain and rejection and 7 years of separation, he's still mine. And I'm still his. And somehow, impossibly, that's enough. The kiss is soft at first, tentative, both of us afraid to push too hard. Then the bond flares, and all the restraint burns away. His hands cup my face, and I grip his shirt, and for the first time in 7 years I let myself feel everything. The love, the desire, the hope for a future I thought was lost forever. When we break apart, Cassian is standing in the courtyard below, grinning up at us. "Finally," he shouts. "I thought you'd never do that." The pack erupts in laughter and more howls. Marcus stands beside Cassian laughing too. The two boys have become brothers in all but blood, united by shared trauma and genuine affection. Theron pulls me close and I let him. Let myself be held. Let myself feel safe in arms that once pushed me away. "The rejected mate became the queen who saved us all," he whispers. I smile against his chest. No, the rejected mate became the woman she was always meant to be. The queen part was just a bonus. Below, Cassian's silver wolf catches the sun, blazing like a beacon. Our sun, our heir, our impossible miracle. The legacy that was almost destroyed has been reborn stronger than anyone imagined. And as I stand in Theron's arms, watching our son play with his adopted brother, surrounded by a pack that's slowly learning to value strength in all its forms, I realize something profound. I was never too weak. I was exactly strong enough to survive rejection. Strong enough to raise a child alone, strong enough to face my destroyer and choose forgiveness over bitterness, strong enough to be exactly who the moon goddess knew we'd need. The Trinity bond pulses through our 3 hearts, Alpha King, Luna Queen, and Silver Wolf Heir, and I feel it. Hope, love, and the promise of a future built not on perfection, but on the messy, beautiful reality of choosing each other every single day. "Mama! Dad! Come down here!" Cassian calls, using both titles naturally now. "I want to show you something." Theron takes my hand, and together we head down to the courtyard. Together. Finally, actually together. The rejected mate became the queen. The arrogant alpha became the humbled king. The hidden heir became the silver wolf prince. And their trinity bond became the foundation of a new age, one where strength comes not from never falling, but from rising after the fall. Where love is measured not in perfection, but in persistence. Where family isn't just blood, but choice. The legacy is reborn. And this time, it will not be broken. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe, like, and share this video to continue listening to this type of story daily, and also to appreciate this community too. I would like to hear your wonderful opinion about this story. Please comment below.